What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to Game Day with Trey. This is your host, Trey, and today I'm going to go ahead and cover the whole NBA slate. I'm going to give you my leans on each game. I'm going to cover the spread, any line movements, the injuries, give you some facts on the games, and then, of course, like I said, I'm going to give you my leans on each and every single game and which direction I'll be going and what plays I'll be going with on every game. So let's go ahead and get this thing started. First game, we got the Houston Rockets visiting the Dallas Mavericks. Line opened up at over-under set at 227. Dallas was giving up 7.5, but the line has since moved. The over-under has gone down to 226, and Dallas minus 8 is now what the line is set at. When you're looking at injuries for this game, Amen Thompson is probable. Okay, so that is major for the Rockets, and then Luka Doncic is also questionable. Luka missed the last game with right knee soreness, leaving the status for Sunday's battle against the Rockets kind of up in the air on this game, man. So it's up in the air if Luka's going to be there, which means it's up in the air if you really want to put your money on the spread in this game. But let's go ahead and give you some stats real quick. So head-to-head, Dallas leads the series 8-2 in the last 10. Right now, Dallas also leads the series against the spread 6-4, and it's gone 4 to the over, 6 to the under. In the last 10 times that these teams have played, they have played a couple times this year. They played back in November 28th. Dallas won and Dallas covered. They played on December 22nd. Houston won and Houston covered, and that was in Houston. And then on March 31st, they played in Houston. Houston got killed 125-107, and Dallas covered the 4 points and went over to 229. All right. So when you're looking at the last 10 games, okay, you're talking about a Dallas team that was hot, but they've lost 4 games in a row. They lost to Miami, Golden State, Minnesota, and Dallas. All right, in the last 4 games. And as far as over-under is concerned, 8 of the games went over, 2 of the games went under. Now, when you're looking at Dallas, on the other hand, though, they're 9-1 straight up in the last 10 games, 8-2 against the spread, and they only have 1 game go over in the last 10 games. And guess what game that was? Yeah, that was the game when they played against Houston, man. All right, so in this game, I would have to lean Dallas right now just because Houston's in a free fall. Houston's in a straight up free fall. So I would probably have to say Dallas minus the points. Houston just does not stand a chance in this game. I don't care if Luka's out there or not, man. It's just where they are as a team and as a culture right now. So that's how I feel about that. I probably would have to go ahead and say, since this game will be played in Dallas, I would say Dallas is going to have control most of this game. And if Luka's out, then it would definitely most likely go under. All right, because there's going to be a little bit more defense out there on the court. So that's the way I feel about that game. Let's go ahead and get into the next game. Next game, we have the Clippers visiting the we got the Cleveland Cavaliers visiting the Los Angeles Clippers. All right. The line opened up at over under 220. The Clippers were giving up 3.5. The line has since moved down. All right. So now the over under is at 218.5, and the Clippers are still giving up that 3.5. All right. So when you look at the matchup and the injuries on this game, okay, you are looking at Okoro is still questionable. All right, Dean Wade's out and Jerome's out. But for the Clippers, you got Kawhi Leonard out, man, and that's major. Once again, he's been out for the last few games. And we all saw this coming. I mean, he played a lot in the beginning of the season. All right, regardless of the fact that this is playoff time and this is an important game for them. I mean, because right now, okay, Cleveland's sitting in the number 3 spot in the East. And the Clippers in the West, Clippers are sitting number 4 spot. They got a 2-game lead against Dallas. But if Dallas wins this game against Houston, that becomes a 1-game lead if the Clippers lose. All right? Because it is an overall record that they do look at, guys. All right? But let's get back to this game. All right? So last 10 times these teams met, all right, the Clippers have run the series 6-4. All right, and they run the series against the spread 6-4. It's also gone 7 to the over and 3 to the under. But when you look at the last 5 times these teams have played, Cleveland has been killing it. Cleveland's 5-1 straight up. Cleveland is 5-1 against the spread, and and these games have gone 1, 2, 3 to the over, 2 to the under. They did play earlier this season in January 24th. Cleveland did win 118 to 108. All right. When you look at how Cleveland's been playing, though, Cleveland's 3-7 in their last 10 games. So this could be a get right spot there. This is their 1, 2, 3. This is their 4th game in 4th game in 7 nights, man. 5 nights. That's a lot. That's 4th game in 5 nights. This is a bad spot for Cleveland right here, guys. All right, and then we look at they're 2-8 against the spread, 7-3 to the over in the last 10, and like I said, they're on a 6-game road trip or 5-game road trip right now. It's possibly the end of the 5-game road trip. And then you got the Clippers. Clippers are 7-3 straight up in the last 10, 4-6 against the spread, 7 to the over, 3 to the under. They are on a 2-game win streak. However, they did beat Denver and they did beat Utah, man. Wow. Okay. When you're looking at the way these two teams have been playing as of late, and just a couple facts about these games, man, because at the end of the day, this is right before you get into the playoffs. It's the most important time of the season for all these teams. Team facts. Let's go. Cleveland Cavaliers have lost each of their last 7 games at Crypto Arena against teams that held a winning record. The Cavs have failed to cover the spread in each of their last 7 games against teams that have held a winning record. And each of the Cavs' last 4 games against the Clippers following a road loss have gone over the total points line. Whereas for the Clippers have won each of their last 13 games when playing with a rest advantage. All right, the Clippers have failed to cover the spread in 8 of their last 9 home games against teams that held a winning record. And each of the Clippers' last 7 games against opponents who are on the second leg of a back-to-back have gone over. All right, so at the end of the day, I can only lean towards the Clippers and the over in this one due to this is a bounce-back revenge spot, man. I think that this is that's the way that they would look at it. That's the way they're going to come into this game. This game is very important to them in order to stay where they are in the Western Conference standings and in the playoffs right now. And I'm not thinking a lot of teams want to have some movement. A lot of teams want to play as much at home as possible. Just being honest, man. So let's go ahead and get to this next game. Next game we got is the Miami Heat visiting the Indiana Pacers. All right. So this game opened up at over under 225. Indiana was giving up 1. It moved to over under 227.5, so the lines moved up a little bit, and Indiana's giving up 1.5 points now. When you look at this matchup and you look at the injury report right now, only one on Miami's side, of course, Josh Richardson. And on Indiana, you got Halliburton is questionable, and Halliburton's dealing with back soreness and is unknown if he'll dress for Sunday's game. Smith is questionable, and we all know Benedict Matherin's been out. All right, so in the last 10 times head up these two teams have played, Miami runs a series 6-4. These two teams have played a couple times this season. It's 1-1. Both teams won at both the first 2 games were in Miami, and Miami won the first game. Pacers won the second game 144 to 129. All right, and they both have covered, but both games have gone over this season. All right, they're 5-5 against the spread against each other and 5-5 over and under. Looking at Miami is 6-4 in these last 10 games. They are coming off a win against Houston. All right, they're 5-4-1 against the spread in these last 10 games, and 7 to the over, 3 to the under. And when you're looking at the Pacers, they're 6-4 straight up, 6-4 against the spread, and 4 to the over, 6 to the under in these last 10 games that they've been playing. They are coming off a big win in OKC, 126 to 112 the other day. And they are on equal rest right now. So you're looking at two teams that not only match up well, Okay, but really and truly, they're both fighting for the same thing right now. They're both fighting for the same spot because Indiana is in sixth position right now, 44-34, whereas Miami is 43-34. So they're literally fighting for the same spot. Miami's trying to get out of that play-in right now, and the Pacers are trying to stay out that play-in right now. So this is a really, really, really intriguing matchup just for that fact alone. Okay. Now, when you look at some of the stats and things like that, the facts that's going on right now, you got Miami Heat have won each of their last 7 games against Central Division opponents. The Heat have failed to cover the spread in each of their last 5 games against Central Division opponents following a win. And 10 of the Heat's last 11 road games following a road win have gone under the total points line. All right, whereas Indiana Pacers have lost 6 of their last 7 games as favorites following a win. Like, we all know this. You want to take the Pacers when they just lost. You usually don't want to take them when they won. All right, and the Pacers have failed to cover the spread in 7 of their last 8 home games against Southeastern Conference opponents that held a winning record. All right, each of the Pacers' last 5 games against Southeastern Division opponents have gone under the total point line. All right, so just going to be honest with you, I like Miami plus the points, and I like it. I like the under. I like Miami to play some defense, man. I really like Miami to lock in because this is going to be a playoff style game. All right, and if you don't know, you better know. Next game, though, we got coming up on the lineup. We have Portland Trailblazers visiting the Boston Celtics. Now, this game opened up at over-under set at 216. Boston was giving up 16. It's since dropped to over-under 215.5. Boston giving up 16. All right, there's not much I'm going to cover in this game, but I'm going to go ahead and go through it because we got to, right? So, for Portland, you got a boatload of injuries. Anthony Simons out. Williams, we already know he's out. Brogdon, been out. It's a list, laundry list of people out for Portland. You look over at Boston, Tatum's questionable with the knee. All right, Jaylen Brown is questionable with the hand, and White is probable with the back. All right, stats in the last 10 times these teams have played. Boston runs this 7-3. Boston runs it 6-3-1. It's again ATS, and then it's 7 to the over, 3 to the under. Last 3 times these teams played, Boston's covered and won. So Boston runs this, man. I'm not somebody who would mess with this. I would probably take Boston's team total points over if I was going to do anything for this game. Yeah, that would be my lean. As far as the spread's concerned, 16 points. Boston could cover it, but I'm just not sure if they're going to cover that full game, so I will probably take the first half. Yeah, and that would be my leans for that game. So let's go ahead and let's get to the next game. Let's get through. All right, so now we're going ahead and get to OKC visiting Charlotte. All right, another game that really don't need to talk to, but I guess we do because Charlotte just got done beating Orlando the other day. But we'll go ahead and get into this real quick. So this line opened up at 217.5 for the over-under. Charlotte was getting 8. Now it's over-under at 218.5, and Charlotte's getting 9. All right, when you're looking at these two teams, you're looking at the injuries. Gordon Hayward's questionable. Williams out. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is still questionable. He's missed previous 3 games with a right quad contusion. It's unclear if he'll take the court in Sunday's game against the Hornets. Probably won't. All right, just on rest alone. And the fact of where they're at right now in the standings and who they're playing, because they are playing against the Hornets. All right, so surprisingly, these teams are 5-5 against each other in the last 10. And if you want to look at just the last 5, Charlotte, or last, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 6. Wow, Charlotte's won 5 out of the last 6 times these two teams have played, straight up. And Charlotte's covered, straight up, against the spread. 5 of the last 6 times. Over under It is 4 to the over, 6 to the under, so it is trending under in this series, which makes sense if Charlotte's actually winning games against OKC. All right, now in the last 10 games, OKC is 5-5 against straight up, 3-7 against the spread, and 6 to the over, 4 to the under in the last 10 games. So OKC is on a 6th or 5th game on the road, and they have played. This will be the 4th game in 5 nights. A bad spot for OKC. Really, really bad spot for OKC, man. Especially when you're talking about a Charlotte team that just beat Orlando Magic at home 124-115. Now, we are talking about a team that don't want to win. Like, they do not want to win. But that doesn't mean that they can't cover. Okay. Now, they're 2-8 in the last 10 games. They're 4-6 against the spread, and they're 6 to the over, 4 to the under in the last 10 times that this team has touched the court when you talk about the Charlotte Hornets, man. All right. When you're looking at how this team has been moving and some of the facts about the Hornets outside of what I just gave you, you have to mention the fact that the Hornets have lost each of their last 12 home games against Western Conference opponents that held a winning record. The Hornets also have failed to cover the spread in each of their last 5 games following a win, because like I said, they aren't trying to win, and 13 of the Hornets' last 14 home night games following a home win have gone under the total points line. All right. Now, when you talk about OKC, the Thunder have won each of their last 7 games against Southeastern Conference opponents. The Thunder have covered the spread in 7 of their last 8 games against Southeastern Division opponents following a loss, all right, which is very important. And each of the Thunder's last 6 road games against Southeastern Division opponents have gone over the total points. All right. That 9 points is a lot of points. I'm not saying that or 8 points is a lot of points. I'm not saying that Charlotte's going to come out here and win, because they definitely don't want to come out here and win. And I'm not saying I'm actually probably betting on this. But if I was to bet on this, I would be leaning towards the points in this game, okay, because it's a horrible spot for OKC. I mean, horrible spot for OKC. You're still missing Shea. You've been on the road a long time. You played this is your 4th game in 5 nights. So that's not a lot of rest. Like, this is a very, very bad spot for OKC. Could be a scheduled win for Charlotte. Who knows? You know? But we'll see, man. We shall see. So as far as the over-under is concerned, yeah, I would probably lean towards the... Yeah, I'll probably lean towards the over, man. Probably. Just because of the fact that that's the only way that Charlotte's going to be able to hang with them. They're going to have to score, even if it's a backdoor cover, you know. But back to the lineups, man. What's next? Next game we got, because we're not going to waste your time. Not going to be here dilly-dallying on some dumb stuff, man. Next game we got the Chicago Bulls visiting the Orlando Magic. All right, this line opened up at over under 210.5. Orlando was giving up 7.5. This line's currently at over under at 209.5, and Orlando giving up the 7.5 still. Okay, as far as injuries concerned in this game, Chicago's got the regular laundry list of people, but Caruso is questionable, Kobe White is questionable, and Jonathan Isaac for the Orlando Magic, he is probable, which that means lockdown since his defense will be out there. Good thing. All right, in the last 10 matchups, the Magic do own this series 6-4. All right, against the spread, Magic also own it 7-3. All right, and when you're looking if it's over under, it's been 3 to the over, 7 to the under in the last 10 times. Now the Magic have won 4 straight against the Chicago Bulls, and they've covered 4 straight against the Chicago Bulls. So there's only one way I could lean in this game, man. All right, but let's keep going. Let's look. There might be something deeper. All right, so Chicago's 5-5 in the last 10. They're 4-6 against the spread in the last 10. They're 5-5 And they're over under. Chicago, however, is coming off a win against the New York Knicks, 108-100. And just in case you didn't know, the Magic are in 4th spot right now. And Chicago's way down in the play-in at the 9th spot. So the Magic need to win this game to be able to try to catch the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are playing out there in L.A. right now. Right? Now, when you look at Orlando is 6-4 straight up in their last 10. They're 5-5 against the spread, and they're 3 to the over, 7 to the under in their last 10 games. They are coming off of L against the Charlotte Hornets. All right, 2 nights ago, man, which was a horrible one, by the way. Horrible L. Like, I can't believe they did that. But it is what it is. Certain things happen certain times, and sometimes you just don't come out and play your best. Even if with Paolo scoring 36, you still got to play some defense, man. I don't understand how you let the Hornets get out on you like that. But that's a whole nother ballgame, man. Okay, so when you're talking about these two teams right now, and how they have been faring or playing out there as of late, you talk about, hold up. You are talking about a Chicago Bull team, okay, that have covered the second quarter spread in 29 of the last 42 games, and an Orlando Magic team that have hit the first quarter total under in 50 of their last 79 games. If those things are available to you, you might want to try to play them, man. Also, another one, the Chicago Bulls have hit the money line in 15 of their last 26 away games. All right, and Orlando Magic have covered the spread in 49 of their last 77 games. All right, now remember, the Orlando Magic are the number 1 team, all right, against the spread this year. Like, they're either number 1 or number 2. Okay, so yeah, they're either number 1 or number 2, man. Having some problems with technical difficulties real quick, but I'll get back to what I'm doing. So anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you like this. At the 209, I think that might be a little too low. I think you should have tried to get in last night if you could have. I know, honestly, I didn't mess with it last night at that 210.5. I do, however, like the Magic. Not sure about how they're going to react to some well, actually, I am sure how they are going to react to Kobe White's injury. If he is out there, then he could be a problem. Okay, but if he's not out there, then it's definitely a Magic going to cover this. Okay, because Magic just struggle against guards for some reason. All right, and they're a bigger team, so I would lean toward the Magic, definitely towards the under. If I would have got in at 210, if you want to pay for some juice, then yeah, you could rock with that under. But all right, going on to the next game. We got the Washington Wizards visiting the Toronto Raptors, man. All right, over under set at 230. It's Toronto -4. Over under was set at 231, and it's moved to Toronto -4.5. You look at this matchup. Okay, Toronto runs it straight up 7-3 in the last 10. They're 6-3-1 against the spread, and it's 2 to the over, 8 to the under in the last 10 times these teams have played. All right, these teams have played 1, 2, 3, 4 straight unders. Okay, and so take that how you want to. All right, if you're somebody who buys into trends and looks into trends, then that might be the way you would lean. Okay, Washington is 4-6 in their last 10 games. They're coming off 2 L's. They just lost to Portland. They're 5-4 against the spread, and they're 5-5 straight up. I mean, not straight up, over under. As far as Toronto's 1-9 in their last 10, but you got them giving up 4 points. It really be that, just because these two teams are slugs, man. This is the bum bowl you got right here, man. Okay, it's 4 to the over, 6 to the under. They're 2-8 in the last 10. Just the under, man. The under. That's what I would rock with if I was going to rock with this game. I would have to mess with the under. I just can't count on these two teams. Maybe Toronto's team total under or something like that. That might work. Washington plays horrible defense. You can't count on Washington to come out and play. Kuzma is questionable, so maybe they will play a little bit. And Toronto they're playing with a G League team. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to move on to the next game. Okay. Next game we got on the schedule. We got the New Orleans Pelicans visiting the Phoenix Suns. All right. So this game opened up at 222. Phoenix is giving up 6.5. Now it's 220. It's moved up to 222.5, and Phoenix is giving up 6. When you're looking at these two teams, you are looking at teams head up that's 7-3. Phoenix is 7-3 straight up against New Orleans in the last 10. They're also 7-3 against the spread in the last 10, and they're 8 to the over, 2 to the under in the last 10 times they played. Phoenix has won 3 straight against New Orleans, and they've covered 3 straight against New Orleans, and it went over, under, over. They have played this season. Matter of fact, they played earlier this week. All right, and Phoenix won 124 to 111. All right, you got to pay attention to what's going on with these teams because they're fighting for playoff and jockeying for playoff position right now. Zion Williamson is questionable, so that's a big problem. Jose Alvarado's still out, and Brandon Ingram's still out. However, you do have a big 3 in for Phoenix. When you're looking at the last 10 games, since Brandon Ingram went out, basically, man, they're 4-6 straight up, 3-7 against the spread, and 5 to the over/under. So Pelicans have been playing horrible ball. They got 1, 2, 3, 4 losses in a row that they've had. They just lost to San Antonio, man. They lost to San Antonio, okay? And they were giving up 11.5 points. They lost straight up, okay? When you talk about Phoenix, out of their last 10 games, they lose 7-3. All right, they're on a 3-game win streak. They're a 3-game cover streak. All right, and they've gone 2 under, 1 over in the last 3 games. All right, yet they're 7-3 straight up, 7-3 against the spread, and 5 to the over, 5 to the under, man. So when you look at these two teams, you got to understand that Phoenix is a team that's going to come out here and do what they got to do. The Pelicans might be trying to, get some get back for what just happened, but they have lost 3 straight games. And the way Phoenix is playing right now, man, Phoenix is balling. Okay, Phoenix is straight balling right now. Devin Booker is doing his thing. KD doing what he do out there. He hitting his J's, man. And Beal is showing up a little bit. So, as far as this game's concerned, I would have to definitely lean to Phoenix minus the 6. Okay, or if I want to pay for some juice, pay for some juice. But that's the way it would be. And I would definitely probably go the over because they're gonna have to. Even though they played 2 unders in the last, Phoenix has played. Let's see, in their last 3 games. Head up, they went. They went 2 to the over, 1 to the under, and this line is set at 222.5. So this is the lowest one, but it just went over to 223. All right, so that might tell you that that the line makers might be thinking that this could be an under game. Okay, remember, like I told you in the very beginning when we were talking about this game, there has been a little bit of movement on the line in this game. It moved over, and so it moved towards the over. So it moved to that 222.5. Yeah. So since this is because it's trying to get back to that 223. Which is what it was just set at for the last game. I don't even know why you didn't start there. All right, but like I said, I'm gonna have to rock with the over on that game, but I'm definitely leaning towards Phoenix. I think Phoenix is just hot right now. When you're looking at the NBA standings, you're looking over in the West. Phoenix is in the 6th spot. They're 46-31, and the Pelicans are 45-32. This is a playoff game, you guys. Literally a playoff game, and in a playoff game right now, I gotta go with the experience, and the experience is with Phoenix. Okay, KD, not Zion, I got to go with Devin Booker. It's just, I have to go with Phoenix. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Okay, but that's the way I would lean in that game. Let's go ahead and get to the next game. We have New York Knicks visiting the Milwaukee Bucks. Okay, the line is set at Milwaukee Bucks. Giving up 4, over-unders at 220. The line has since moved since it opened. Now it's down to 219, and Milwaukee's still giving up the 4 points. All right. When you're looking at the matchup and the injuries in this game, you got Bogdanovich is questionable for the Knicks, and Julius Randle, of course, is still out. Where you talk about Milwaukee, Giannis is questionable with the hamstring. Beverly is questionable. And those are the only two important ones that you really care about right now. All right, so when you're looking at the last 10 times head up these two teams have played, Milwaukee runs this straight up 9-1. Milwaukee runs against the spread 7-1-2. And over under, it's gone 4 to the over, 6 to the under. However, the New York Knicks did win on Christmas Day, 129-122 in New York against Milwaukee, but they had just played on like 2 days before that, and Milwaukee won 130-111, and then they played a week and a half or 2 weeks before that. They played a lot recently, man. Okay, but Milwaukee does run this thing, and the last time they played, the over under was set at 242.5. Right now the over under is set at 219. So if that tells you what you need to know, then that should tell you what you need to know. Okay. Straight up, last 10 games, Knicks are 5-5 against the spread. They're 6-4, and it's 8 to the over, 2 to the under in their last 10 games. They're coming off a loss to the Chicago Bulls. This team is not playing New York Knicks ball. They're not playing defense like they've been playing, and that is why they're losing. Okay, but then when you talk about Milwaukee ain't been playing good ball either. Milwaukee's 4-6 straight up in the last 10, 4-6 against the spread, and they're 6 to the over, 4 to the under in their last 10 games. They are coming off 3 straight losses to the 3 worst teams in the NBA. I mean, we're talking about the worst. We're talking about they lost to Washington, 113-117. They lost to Memphis, 101-111, okay, and they lost to Toronto. They had 111, and Toronto scored 117 points. So in these last 3 games against 3 of the worst defenses in the NBA, the most points they've scored is 113 points. All right, what's going on? What's really going on out here? Okay. What is really going on right here? Are we trying to win? Do we want to be in the playoffs doing what we're supposed to be doing? Did Dame come there for nothing? Did Giannis let Dame come there for nothing? Are we really trying to make noise in the playoffs? Or was this a whole championship move? Then with the Knicks, you got so many injuries that you can't be consistent anywhere. Okay, OG Anunoby is not on the injury report, which is a beautiful thing. But at the same time, what's really been going on with you guys over here, man? You have not been playing any defense at all. I understand OG Anunoby has been out. Okay, that's understandable. Okay, and with him not have been on the court recently, then that has left a gaping hole. All right, so that means that since OG's out here, y'all should be playing some defense today. Okay, just for real. All right, just to give you some team facts. The Knicks have won 4 of their last 6 games as road underdogs. The home team has covered the spread in 8 of the Knicks' last 9 games, and 8 of the Knicks' last 9 games have gone over the total points line. All right, whereas the Bucks have won each of their last 7 night games against the Knicks. The Bucks have covered the spread in each of their last 6 night games against the Atlantic Division opponents that held a winning record, and 6 of the Bucks' last 7 home games against Eastern Conference opponents have gone under the total point spread. Now, as far as betting this game, there's no way on God's green earth I would go anywhere near this game. It's just because of how inconsistent Milwaukee's been, and I just don't know what I'm going to get. The one thing I can say is that the Knicks have at least been winning some games. Okay, so I would lean towards the Knicks with the 3.5, maybe get some juice on that. Probably go towards the under because OG is going to be out there and he's going to be playing some D. And if Giannis is not out there, then it could be a real problem. Okay, real problem for what they're trying to do in Milwaukee. Now Dame is going to be trying to run the ball up and down the court, and if he is trying to run the ball up and down the court, then maybe he could go over. But I don't think so. I think that the Knicks would lean on this team a little bit more since Giannis isn't out there, and it would be a different game. But I don't know. Like, nobody's perfect, but like I said, I'm telling you, I'm not going nowhere near this game. It's just I can't do that. It's these two teams too crazy. Okay, so let's go to the next game. Next game we got, and there's a million games on the slate. Literally, we're 35 minutes in. This is if you made it 35 minutes in, man, I want you to post I made it. Okay, right now. All right, so let's get to the next one. We got Philadelphia 76ers visiting the San Antonio Spurs. Okay, the line opened up at over under 227. San Antonio getting 6. Now still at the same thing. So there's been zero line movement in this game. Injuries, when you look at the injuries, you have Tobias Harris is questionable. Mo Bamba is questionable. And then you look San Antonio. Wow, Kevin Johnson's probable. Barlow out. Osman out. All right, but my man's is playing. Wemby is playing, so you do have something going on out there. Now, straight up in the last 10, 76ers are 9-1 straight up in the last 10 times these teams have played. These teams played earlier this year in January. It was 133 to 123. That was without Joel Embiid. San Antonio was getting 13.5. They covered that 13.5, and it went over the 237.5. This line is set at 227 for a reason. It's because Joel Embiid's going to be out there now. In the last 10 times, it's 5-5 against the spread, so it's dead even, and it's 7 to the over, 3 to the under the last 10 times these teams have played. Philadelphia is coming in on a 4-game win streak and 5-6-game cover streak. Okay, so they've been doing what they need to do against who they're playing. All right, they're 5-5 straight up, 8-2 against the spread, and 5 to the over, 5 to the under in the last 10. Whereas when you're looking at San Antonio, they're 5-5 straight up, but they've been doing what they need to do too against the spread lately. They're 8-2 against the spread, and they're also coming in on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-game cover streak. So yeah, this is where rubber meets the road right here, and it's 6 games to the over, 4 games to the under in the last 10 games when you're talking about a San Antonio team. Okay, like I said, these two teams have played earlier this year, and it did go over, but that was without Joel Embiid. Okay, this is a completely different team when you got Joel Embiid out there. All right, they just it's different. It just for some reason it's different. They slow the ball down sometimes they speed it up. And Joel is coming off that injury, but he's been playing pretty good ball, man. All right, the 76ers have been on a nice run. They're aiming for the 5th straight victory after blowing past the Grizzlies in a 116-96 road win last night. And then you got, meanwhile, in San Antonio, they've been playing some decent ball, like I told you. All right, and they've now won 4 of their last 6 games, and they just took down the Pelicans in a surprising 111-109 road win on Friday, man. So when you're talking about these 76ers, they have lost each of their last 12 road games on the second leg of a back-to-back against the Spurs. The 76ers have covered the spread in each of their last 6 games, and each of the 76ers' last 7 road games on the second leg of a back-to-back have gone under the total points line. All right, now when you're looking at San Antonio, the Spurs have lost 10 of their last 11 home games against opponents who are on the second leg of a back-to-back, so they don't take advantage of this as of late. All right, and the Spurs have covered the spread in each of their last 6 games. All right, now each of the Spurs' last 4 home games against the 76ers following a road win have gone under the total points line. All right, so with this line being set where it's set at right now, at the 227 having moved, Now there are places that you can find this at 2:30. By the way, I have seen it at 2:30, but right now it's live at 2:27. So I would definitely have to lean towards the under. I like San Antonio tonight. I'm just going to tell you that I like San Antonio with the points. I know Philadelphia is hot, this and that and the third, but they're just trying to win the game. They're not trying to blow a team out. But 3 possessions might not be enough possessions. So I would probably, yeah, I'll probably still lean. No, man, I'd lean towards Philly. I talked myself onto it. I would lean towards Philly and the under, man. Uh, I just think Joel Embiid would use this game as a good stepping stone game for getting ready for the playoffs right now too. You know, but so let's go ahead. Let's get on to the next one. Next game we got on the slate. All right, we got Sacramento Kings visiting the Brooklyn Nets. All right, this line opened up at over under 220. Brooklyn was getting 8. The line has moved down to 216, and Brooklyn still getting 8. All right, injuries on this game. Of course, Malik Monk and Huerter. Malik Monk, yeah, and Huerter still hurt. You got Smith Jr. questionable, and Cam Johnson is questionable. Okay, Brooklyn Nets are on the cusp of trying to. Well, no, they've been eliminated, so they're on the cusp of trying to go home. All right, and Sacramento, if they don't start doing something, like they really need to win some games. They're in the 8th spot, and they're in 2 more games. If they lose 2 more games, then they could literally fall back out, and Houston could be back in this. Like it's crazy what's going on right now in the West. All right, so when you're looking at these 2 teams, all right, Brooklyn owns the last 10 times they played, 6-4. They also own against the spread, 6-4, and it's 5 to the over, 5 to the under in the last 10 times they played. However, the last 3 times they played, the Kings have won and the Kings have covered. The last 3 times, all right, they played earlier this year. Kings won 131 to 118, and that was in Sacramento. All right, the game went over to 237.5. As far as Sacramento is concerned, they are coming in off a win against Boston, a loss against Boston, 101 to 100. All right, they did actually cover the 9 though, and the over/under was set at 226. They are 5-5 straight up, 6-4 against the spread, and 2-8 to the 2 to the over, 8 to the under in the last 10 games, man. All right, when you're looking at Brooklyn's 5-5 straight up, 4-6 against the spread, and 4-5-1 over 4 over, 5 under, and then 1 push. All right, in the last 10 games. When you're talking about these 2 teams, you're talking about a Brooklyn team that's coming in off a 2-game win streak, and you're talking about a Sacramento team that's coming off a 2-game losing streak. All right, this is Sacramento's 4th game in 5 nights. It's only their 3rd game on the road, but it's the 4th game in 5 nights. Bad spot for Sacramento. Okay, whereas Brooklyn is on their 3rd game in 4 nights. All right, so not that bad, but still not a great spot for Brooklyn either. In this game, I can only lean Sacramento. I'm not doing anything with Brooklyn. It just is what it is. They even though Sacramento really doesn't have to try to cover against anybody right now, they just need to win this game. I think they do need to actually win this game with a statement as well. I would also take the under in this game if I was messing with this game, but I'm not messing with this game at all. Just not. Maybe Sacramento's team total over. I might look at that. Actually, that actually might be something I'm looking at. All right, so let's look at the next game. Next game on the slate is Utah versus Golden State. The over/under opened up at 228.5 with Golden State giving up 11.5. It has since moved down to 226, and Golden State's giving up 12. All right, in this game, injuries, we're looking at a Utah team that is tanking. Clarkson's out, Collins is out, Kessler's out. Dunn, like, come on now. Markkanen's out. Dunn is questionable. But we know Golden State's trying to win. So even though Steph Curry out on rest, Andrew Wiggins, questionable. Okay. Kuminga, we know he's out. Dario Saric, we know he's out. Gary Payton II. Wow. Well, this is going to be a hard game for them to come out and try to cover some points. You ain't got no Steph Curry out there. I'm just saying, they don't. It's not. That's not a good sign for Golden State. Even if you're trying to win, you got to have. I understand this is Utah, and you should kill them. You're 8-2 straight up in the last 10 against this team. You're 8-1-1 against the spread, okay, and you're 5 to the over, 5 to the under in the last 10. You bet you won the last 3 times you played them. You covered the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times you played them. All right, and you've really won out of those 6. You won 5 of them. All right, so at the end of the day, man. You should beat this team, and you should cover against this team, and you should do what needs to be done. But this is a large spread, and I don't think I could take Golden State with the large spread. I couldn't mess with this game. I really couldn't. Maybe Golden State team total over. I would like that. Okay. In the last 10 games, Utah's on a 10-game losing streak. They're 2-8 against the spread, and it's 5-5 over under. All right, and Golden State, they're 7-3 straight up. They are in playoff mode, 6-4 against the spread, and it's 4 to the over, 6 to the under. So, like I said, definitely I could lean towards Golden State's team total over or Utah's team total under. Maybe that would be a way to look. All right, maybe you could look there, but or when you're talking about the game, I guess you could take the 12 points. But I'm not messing with this, man. This is ridiculous. Okay. All right. Now let's go ahead and get to the final game. You have the Minnesota Vikings. Wow. Minnesota Timberwolves visited the LA Lakers. All right. This game opened up at over under 220. Okay. You got the Lakers -3, and it has since moved down over under 219.5. Lakers -2. All right, so when you're looking at the matchup for this game and who's going to be in, who's going to be out, we do have the usuals. Karl Anthony Towns still out. Clark still out. And then we look over at LA. You got Vanderbilt still out. Shafino still out. Wood still out. When you're looking at the last 10 times these teams have played, Minnesota was 6-4 straight up, 6-4 against the spread, and it's 3 to the over, 7 to the under in the last 10. However, LA did win the last time they played on March 10th. LA won 120 to 109, and they covered the 4.5. LA has covered 3 straight games against this team, and in those 3 games, it went 2 to the over, 1 to the under. All right. When you're looking at the last 10 games for Minnesota 7-3 straight up, the 6-4 against the spread, and it's 4 to the over, 6 to the under in the last 10 that they have played. They're coming off a loss to Phoenix, an 87-97 loss. They didn't cover the spread, and that game did go under the 215.5. All right, when you're talking about the Lakers, they're 9-1 in the last 10 games straight up. They're 7-3 against the spread, and they're 6-4 to the over/under. All right, LA's on a 4-game win streak. They, however, have only covered 3 of those last 4 games, and the team they didn't cover against was Washington because they just, I don't even think they took that game serious. All right, but they're 6 to the over, 4 to the under, like I said, in their last 10 games that they played. My lean for this game, it's got to be. It's got to be a revenge game for Minnesota. They are only getting 2 points. LA does do pretty decent in these smaller spread games. But when you're looking at who LA's been playing in the last 10, man, they really have only played 4 playoff teams in the last 10 games. So strength of schedule is not there. And then when you look at Minnesota, they played 1. Wow. Okay, they played about 6 playoff teams. So they're actually playing some tough teams and playing some tough games, man, in the last 10. And Edwards will be out there. Man, I don't know. I definitely like the under though. I could say that. I could go with the under on this one because, well, actually no. You're playing in L.A. That's an over. It's an over all day in America. I'm sorry. Uh, Not like right now the way they've been playing. As far as the Lakers team total, probably Minnesota hadn't really been playing like that, man. Uh, I don't know. But my heart tells me Lakers. I am a Laker fan, so take that with a grain of salt. Okay. And as far as the over-under is concerned, man, it had to be the over. Just because the way Lakers been playing as of late, even though Minnesota is like a top 2 defense in the NBA. But I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments, man. I hope this gave you enough information. Sorry it was such a long video, but there's like 13 games, okay? I just covered 13 games for you guys, man. I hope you truly appreciate it. If not, I appreciate you for even sitting here and listening to it, man. For real. I definitely appreciate you guys. Please like, subscribe, share. Get it out there, man. I hope all this information did help you and assist you with your plays. Y'all have a blessed day. Stay safe, man. I'm see you at the window. Holla at you. Peace.